What's going on YouTube? So today we got a custom we got a S2000, of course, turbo inline pro motor. Pretty sure that's the inline pro turbo kit as well. Virginia car, started remote tuning and was running into some issues. So I said, hey man, you're gonna have to find a mechanic to go over this car, see what problems you have. And I said, or you can bring it to me. So he ended up going ahead and just having a car hauler guy come over and shipped it to me. And here she is. So I'm going to figure out what's going on. We're having issues. It wouldn't build boost at all. And it was kind of idling rough. So I'm not really sure what's happening, but I'm just gonna go over some simple stuff, wastegate stuff, vacuum line. Of course, hook it up on a computer. It's on AMV2 and see what I can see. It's way easier, of course, if I have the car in my hands with tuning, because I can troubleshoot, look at stuff, drive the car, get a feel for it, see what's happening. So we're gonna start plugging away on this guy. All right, so first things first, we're just gonna do a quick boost leak check. So I got this nice little 3-inch, actually it's 4-inch coupler there. I just hooked the pressure line to it. It'll pressurize the whole system, including a lot of the vacuum lines and stuff. And you just really listen for it and see if you can hear some hissing, see if anything's really apparent that we have a boost leak. All right, so I'm gonna try to do this one hand. I went ahead and threw some pressure here. And we're getting a lot of blow by, which means boost pressure is getting in there. It's getting past the rings and it's pressurizing the crankcase. You can even hear it. So it sounds like we have pretty excessive blow by in the motor. And I also hear a water. I'm sure you guys can hear that. You hear water noises. And we had the car running, like idling, just for a little bit. Shouldn't really have a lot of pressure in the cooling system already. And that definitely had a little bit of pressure, which is not the best sign, guys. Not the best sign here. We're gonna keep troubleshooting. So the hissing sound actually was the check valve hissing. I don't really like running those lines from the intake manifold to the valve cover, because under boost, these check valves, they don't really hold the boost and they leak. And all it does is pressurizes your crankcase pressure. So I like to have this guy vent to atmosphere and this guy vent to atmosphere is the best way to do it. I didn't find any leaks. It is obviously pushing some smoke, pushing pressure past the rings. So the next thing I want to do is we're going to take the valve cover off. We're going to take the spark plugs out, load the spark plugs. We're going to bore scope. We're going to get our camera. We're going to go down in there, look at the cylinder walls. I want to see if there's any significant cylinder wall damage or scratches. Take that out of the equation. And then we'll go ahead and run it. I'll hook it up to the laptop, get some heat in the motor, take it down the road, see if I can see why it's not building boost, because all the pressures, everything's there. So it could be a wastegate problem, could be a vacuum line issue or a routing issue. I don't really see anything that's sticking out right now, but anyways, build some heat in the motor. We'll probably do a compression test just to make sure everything's looking okay. Next step would be to probably go ahead and take the valve cover off. Make sure the valve lash is good. I'm just making sure we have a sound mechanical motor, and then kind of go from there and figure out why this car's not running right. Well, I just took it down the road, and it's smoking like a freight train. I'm going to pull these spark plugs out, check out these cylinders. I think he's got a blown motor. It's not one to idle. It's going full rich. I try to take fuel out, then it goes full lean, shuts off. It has no power. I went like full throttle. It's just like bah, and then smoke's rolling out of everywhere. I think he's got excessive blow-by. I think he cooked a ring, cooked a sleeve, cooked a piston. And this is a built bottom end. So another thing I found was whoever installed the wideband. This is a standard AEM Yugo wideband. They do not need analog ground hooked up to the ECU. If you hook up analog ground, it throws off the ECU reading. They had D9 hooked up, so it had an analog ground to it. The only gauges that you need that are the X series AEM wideband. You have to have analog hooked up. This does not. It's one wire. It's a signal 5-volt reference to C16 on the AEM ECU, and that was hooked up, but analog ground was hooked up. And when that is hooked up, it throws off the sensor, and it throws off what the ECU is reading. So that could very well have been a very big problem when it was tuned. It could have been tuned really lean, but the ECU is thinking it's rich. These are the things that are very crucial, guys. You have to make sure everything is correct. Your tuner is not responsible for when you don't hook stuff up correctly, okay? Now, if it's an in-person tune, obviously they can look at stuff, but again, you need to bring your car mechanically sound to a tuner. It is not the tuner's job to go over your entire car to figure out what you messed up. And a lot of tuners get blamed for blowing cars up or doing this or doing that when they're just looking at the data that's on the ECU and everything looks good to them, but you didn't hook something up right and it blew up your motor. So that is the problem with today with remote tuning. Again, if everything is sound and hooked up correctly, you don't have to worry about it. And AEM has all the manuals and all the instructions on how to hook all these sensors up, and guys just don't read. They just start plugging stuff in and they don't understand what sensor needs what. So again, it's going to be unfortunate because this is an inline pro block, I believe. So we're going to take out the spark plugs. I'm going to throw my bore scope down there, and we're going to see what these cylinder walls look like, and then we're also going to go ahead and do a compression check, see what we get on the compression check. But I'm telling you, there's a lot of smoke rolling out of this thing, which is not a good sign. Well, my suspicion was right. This block's trash. Really unfortunate for Jamie. But as I was pulling spark plugs out, just full of oil and super rich and black and trashy looking. They all look like that. I only bore scoped number 2 and already found cylinder wall damage, piston damage. So, and I think honestly all of them are like that. I'm gonna finish bore scoping here. I'll have the video of the scope, but doesn't look good. It's gonna need a whole new bottom end. Well, it turns out every cylinder has cylinder damage. So the walls are no good. So if he wants a running car again, I mean, it does run. It will get from point A to point B, not good, but the amount of smoke that I was seeing, I kind of knew it probably had a ring or something gone, but cylinder walls are pretty boogered up. And what's funny is that they're all on the intake side, not the exhaust side, which is strange because a lot of times the exhaust side heats up quicker than the intake side does. Well, it's pretty unfortunate for Jamie here. He ended up buying it not too long ago, about a year ago, but he said he barely drove it. Said it was kind of smoking when he first got it. Didn't really think a whole lot about it. He ended up putting new turbo, bigger injectors, wanted to switch over to ED5, but it's too late. Motor's already done. The motor was built and tuned by a reputable shop, and I don't think it was the shop's fault. The dynograph and the tune that's in the car looks plenty safe for pump gas. And if it was, if the boost was where it should be on pump gas, the car made 375, very reasonable pump gas numbers, plenty safe. I think what happened was the owner got the car. They probably cranked the boost up on it. They were out racing, beating the crap out of it, smoked it, and then probably realized he did something and then unloaded it. And he ended up buying it from him, and he's got a blown motor. And this happens a lot. I mean, I see this all the time. Guys put a bunch of money in the car, they blow them up, then they try to sell them and say that, no, everything's good, it's good to go. Because it's a lot of money building a motor. I mean, these are $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 motors when you build them, and then turbo kit and fuel system. I mean, it gets very expensive. So when guys blow stuff up, they don't want to fix it. They just want to unload it, get rid of it, sell it to somebody. And unfortunately, if you don't really know what you're looking at when you go buy a car, you can buy a blown up motor. So it's unfortunate, but anyways, I contacted him, let him know what's happening. Told him to, think about it, what he wants to do. I offered to trailer it back to him if he wants to, or if he wants me to build the car, I'll build the car. I don't know when. I told him, timeline is, I have no idea when I can get to it. I still got to get the supercharger car done. I still got racing to do this season. Of course, if my car ends up breaking or something happens to my car, that ends up coming in and getting fixed for race season. And then I want to do the ECU swap this winter. So if he wants me to do it, car will probably sit until winter time, till I have some extra time on my hands, and I'll have to pull the motor, pull it all apart, see what the damage is. Most likely there's some cylinder damages, or not cylinder, but cylinder. What am I trying to say right now? Cylinder head. That's what I'm trying to say. There might be some cylinder head damage. So I don't know. But anyways, I can get it pulled out, get new sleeves, get Jeremy to put new sleeves in it. We'll do a minor build on it, get it back in and get it tuned for him. But might be a while. Anyways, guys, it's going to be kind of a short video. A whole lot to show besides a blown up motor. So again, guys, appreciate it. Like, comment, like, and subscribe. We should be racing. We're supposed to race this weekend, but again, weather does not look good. It looks like it's going to rain. So that's not going to happen. I got a work trip that I got to go to. And when we come back, there should be some good racing coming up. The rescheduled team race is coming up. That got rained out. So that's coming up. We got Delaware coming up, US 13 with Poppy and Dave. We're going to that as well. And then we got Dig or Die coming in at the end of the year. So we should have a pretty packed schedule here towards the end. It's going to start getting cold, which means my car's going to start making some serious power. So it should be fun. Anyways, guys, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.